Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, it's in there. Hello. Audio issue. What? Pisco's debating a Trumple Stiltskin. Oh God, he's freaking out. What do we got?
Nice. You can get it when you trade in any phone.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Now every phone can be the new iPhone 16 Pro at Verizon. Just trade in any phone in any condition and get iPhone 16 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Don't let that. Don't connect those dots there either, Pisco. But
hang on. What does that tell us? It tells us that the notion that there would be a criminal.
It tells us he's getting bribed for future political gain. That's what it tells us to anybody with half a brain. Now, so he's never been to Ukraine, knows nothing about energy companies, is a strung-out crackhead who's blowing hand over fist dollars on hookers, gets this magical gig that you think Joe Biden has nothing to do with. If they had blackmail material on Hunter Biden, would that involve Joe Biden or no?
If they had blackmail material on Hunter Biden, would it necessarily involve Joe Biden? No. Do you disagree with that? Do you disagree with that? Yes or no?
No, because you phrase it as necessarily. That's the qualifier.
Well, I thought that you said that. Does it involve Joe Biden? Not necessarily is my answer.
Okay, not necessarily, but it could possibly involve.
Yes, it also could possibly involve Donald Trump. Don't you agree?
No,
it could possibly involve Donald Trump.
Pisco, let's not be stupid.
Okay.
Hunter Biden doing crack has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Okay,
but it could. You agree it could?
A vice president, not in a rational brain, in an irrational Democrat brain. Yes, the son of the vice president with compromised material might explain why America is indebted to the tune of $150 billion to support Ukraine, and the 30% or 70% that goes to their corrupt government that was so corrupt they just siphon off tax dollars. That might have to do with a little bit of why foreign policy is what it is. But the bottom line, you say that the Russian narrative is not that there was suspicious stuff.
Why is this inaudible? Why don't you guys bitch at him for having inaudible audio?
Joe Biden. And my question to you would be, if any foreign country had blackmail material on the vice president's son and future president's son, do you think that would potentially compromise or involve the president?
It potentially would compromise the president.
Oh, my God.
But that's not saying anything. It potentially couldn't, too. That's the problem with these kind of innuendos and these cute little things.
I'll say this: having a video of potential underage sex. I don't think there was, so I'm not asserting that. But hypothetical? No, because there was an investigation.
If there's a potential, if there is,
if they have blackmail material on, if they had Hunter Biden's laptop,
yes,
that necessarily, in my view, implicates the Biden. Necessarily, would you deny that?
I would deny that in the strongest possible terms.
Wow.
Well, that would be where the.
Hey, wait, come on. Now I'm going to push you. You think that if they have blackmail material on Hunter Biden, it necessarily implicates Joe Biden? What if Joe Biden doesn't know about it? What if Joe Biden, it's never told to him?
First of all, it's not blackmail material if it's never told to anybody.
Okay.
And yes, I would say having dirt that implicates Joe Biden, because you do appreciate Joe Biden paid for the hookers by accidental wire transfer ones. You do acknowledge that?
I don't actually know the chronology there. I know a lot. I don't know that. But
okay,
wait, can we just take a little pause?
Instead of reading Lev Parnas, who's
hang on. I read John Solomon too. You act like I don't read your side. I'm very well acquainted.
I don't have a side here. I actually do read the propagandists so I can know what the liars are saying. I'd listen to CNN. I read New York Times, who recently had to report on, admit all of this past controversial.
Viva, can we take a courtesy break real quick? I just want to say, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm having a lot of fun. And but I want to know, did you expect me to have as much information as I do about the Burisma situation, at least the facts? You might disagree with my interpretation, But did you expect me to know that stuff?
No, but first of all, I don't want to be insulting. I expected you to have more and better arguments.
Oh.
I acknowledge all the facts, but I just deny the conclusion.
Hang on.
For you.
Wait a second. No, I think it beggars.
Sure. I know that his son was
Look at
getting
this guy.
money.
He's freaking the fuck out. This is what he does in his free time. He just terrorizes
Let's just do
us.
step by step.
Is it
illegal?
terrorist?
Do you know it to be illegal, or do you not know whether it is illegal for Hunter Biden to even be on the board of Burisma in the first place?
I don't know under what circumstances.
Under the circumstance of just being on the board for purposes of business.
Company?
Yeah, people
I don't
aren't.
know, but apparently, even receiving financing from foreign interests is a problem.
That's different. If we're gonna get into tenant media, that's very different.
But I'm saying you're asking, is it illegal? I don't know. In the normal run of things,
I'm going to represent to your audience that it is not illegal for people to. Let me just, instead of asking the questions, I'll just give an affirmative case because people something about the questions sometimes doesn't work the way I want it to work. It's not.
Hop Tua.
Hop Tua.
Do you like Tua?
Hop Tua.
Do you like the Hop Tua girl? Hop Tua.
Hop Tua.
Do you like spit on your thing? Hop Tua.
Hop Tua.
Have you ever watched the Talk Tua podcast? Hop Tua.
Hop Tua.
Talk Tua.
Talk Tua.
What's it like to get slop from someone you love? Talk Tua.
Talk Tua.
Do they teach you how to give hop without the Tua? Talk Tua.
Talk Tua.
Have you ever given hop Tua? Talk Tua.
Talk Tua.
Do you dream about being on Talk Tua?
Talk Tua.
What's it like to have never met the Hop Tua girl? Talk Tua.
Talk Tua.
Did you vote for Hop Tua girl as president? Talk Tua.
Talk Tua.
Within Hop Tua. Talk Tua.
Within Hop Tua. Talk Tua.
Why don't you say that 3 times? Within Hop Tua. Talk Tua.
Within Hop Tua. Talk Tua. Within Hop Tua. Talk Tua. Within Hop Tua. Talk Tua.
Congratulations, Constant K. You have passed
Why? Why does it have to be me? I still don't even know who this person is.
the post-traumatic baseline test. You can pick up your bonus on your way out, but you have to say the magic word.
Hop Tua.
Tua.
Hop Tua.
The board. In the case of Hunter Biden, I fully expect that the reason that they did it was to have a good name on the board, to make it seem more legitimate, and potentially to have contacts in the United States. That's true. That doesn't necessarily implicate any corruption. It doesn't necessarily implicate FARA at all. And so in order to make the case that Hunter Biden's position on the board, separate and apart from the tax stuff, which is completely separate from corruption.
No, it's not. I mean,
it is completely separate.
Not declaring the revenue from the foreign company is not completely separate. It's part of the concealment.
It's his own. Burisma didn't tell him not to report it. No one told him not to report it. Joe Biden didn't tell him, hey, don't report your taxes.
First of all, you see what you're doing again. You don't know what anybody told him. So I don't need to assume what people told him or what he was thinking. I just conclude what he did. So, there's plenty of good reasons why you would have the Biden name on a foreign, corrupt Ukrainian company. There is one of which would be credibility is obviously a reasonable one. Sure. The other one would be protection from investigation. Much like what happened when Joe Biden then said, fire this guy who's looking into Burisma. But then the excuse that
he wasn't looking into Burisma. I just want to be clear. He was not investigating Burisma. We know that. If you ask the deputies of Shokin, they said they were the ones trying to push Burisma investigations, and that Shokin was refusing. That they were the ones trying to push for greater corruption investigations of Burisma, and they were stopped. That's what's said by Shokin's own deputies. If you ask from the Anti-Corruption Action Center, Daria, her last name starts with a K, I can never pronounce it. She says there was no investigation into Burisma at all. In fact, it's widespreadly known in Ukraine. That's the allegation. So in order for you to say, yes, Shokin was looking into Burisma, that's why I was fired, I would expect that you would trust something more than just the bare assertion of Shokin himself in a self-interested statement made probably from Moscow or some other Russian hole, that is not enough evidence for you to determine that he actually was looking into Burisma. And in fact, if you look at the Devin Archer's testimony, and I'm sure you've looked a little bit into the Devin Archer testimony, he says, what we were told was that Shokin was good for Burisma. And so what is the evidence that Shokin was looking into Burisma actually? Think about that.
Well, the evidence to me that Biden didn't want Shokin there is the specific demand that he be fired, under failing which he was.
Come on, that's circular. You know that's circular, as you said. No, sorry.
Well, you see, you just did it again.
I did it again. I caught myself, but I caught myself.
The corruption is evident and it's patent and it's there. That's the bottom line.
That's not an argument. That's conclusory. It's evident. It's there because he fired it.
Fact, his son is on the board. His son is getting paid to do nothing except levy political influence for the benefit of this corrupt Ukrainian company. You say that Joe never got the 10% because that came from, what's the guy's name?
The 10% doesn't even relate to Burisma stuff. That's China stuff.
10%, and the big guy might relate to all of the business relationship. I mean, and it pretty much did.
That's your bare assertion. That's your bare assertion. That doesn't.
Bare assertion. It's also
that's not in the documents.
It's a reasonable conclusion to draw from the fact that he wasn't declaring the revenue. I mean, it's quite an obvious conclusion to draw.
The reasonable conclusion to draw is that the 10% for the big guy was for Joe Biden for everything because Hunter Biden didn't declare the Burisma tax. Make that make sense. Why is that the reasonable conclusion, Viva?
Why is it the reasonable conclusion that the 10% for the big guy was not on one specific
based on the fact that Hunter Biden did tax fraud? Why is that the conclusion?
Wait, is the 10% for the big guy? Was that supposed to be for Joe Biden or was that supposed to be for Yanukovych? How do we know one way or another? What is the assertion? Who is the big guy again?
It's because probably he didn't want to pay taxes on it. That's not crazy. That's not crazy to think. It was public knowledge he worked for Burisma. That's public knowledge. It was publicly announced by Burisma.
Then how would you possibly say he's not? It's public knowledge that he's working for them, and yet he's not going to declare it because
he's an idiot. What do you want me to say? He's not. You're saying to himself he's a crackhead. His brother just died of cancer, and he's smoking crack every day. And you're like, wow, I can't believe this guy did this.
One of the logical reasons is that you don't want to declare it. You don't want people seeing where the money's coming from and how much of it is coming from there, and where it's going once it gets here. And now once you understand that the father, Joe Biden, was literally wiring for hookers and drugs accidentally from his own bank account, and then you at the end of the day want to say, oh, his dad had nothing to do with anything. I mean, you're suspending disbelief for the sake of partisan politics.
I don't know what to say. Okay, so at this point we have now 4 investigations. The DOJ has investigated this matter. They have not determined that there's anything corruption with Joe Biden. In the first impeachment hearing, one of the main defenses of Trump was that this was, in fact, a legitimate purpose for the reasons you stated, because there was actual corruption. It was investigated by the various committees there. There was a dedicated investigation by Senate Republicans in 2019, prior to the 2020 election, that also came to the conclusion that they have no evidence of Joe Biden's corruption or involvement whatsoever in the Burisma matter. And finally now, you have that. Wait, hang on a second. Let me just finish this. Now, finally, you have the impeachment inquiry, the official impeachment inquiry, specifically on these matters. They're not going to impeach him, and they have not come and produced any evidence whatsoever that Joe Biden's involved in the Ukrainian matter with Burisma. When do we get to let sleeping dogs lie? When will we have enough investigations to determine that, hey, maybe Joe Biden really didn't have anything to do with Burisma? What will convince you? If all these investigations are
Wait, did you see that?
Evidence that shows that.
Deja vu. What? I just saw that black cat.
It's going to take to convince me that there's nothing there. At the point where I know that the son was receiving money for nothing, not declaring the taxes, that the dad was paying for drugs and hookers, he was spending millions of dollars cash over the course of months. Sorry, the DOJ is not investigating at that point. They're attempting to cover it up. And the fact that foreign countries and foreign interests most certainly had prejudicial information on the Biden family is most certainly something that I will never believe them to say, no, it's all clean and kosher, because after all, the same intelligence officers came out later and said the Hunter Biden laptop story was earmarks of Russian information.
So this is what it actually does require, and I agree that this conclusion does follow from your perspective. I think it requires you to believe that the DOJ is this corrupt.
No, it requires me to trust the people who I know definitively have been lying to me. I mean, it's funny. It's good. We'll put a bow on this one because
sure.
It requires me to trust the people who I know. I have confirmation have been lying to me repeatedly over an extended period of time.
And your evidence of that is the Hunter Biden laptop. Why is that?
Why is that? The Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, how far back do you want to go? The evidence would be weapons of mass destruction. The evidence would be the Hunter Biden laptop. The evidence would be everything related to to COVID in particular. But the evidence would be a history and a pattern of lying. Corruption, weaponized prosecution, and weaponized exoneration. So
it proves too much. So I mean, that proves too much, because now any conspiracy I allege that involves or implicates the DOJ being corrupt, I can use all that evidence to demonstrate that
in recent memory, Pisco, they lied. They falsified evidence in 2016. They falsified.
I got it.
They lied about evidence in 2020. You expect me to believe these guys are now investigating and have exonerated the people that they were lying for?
But come on, the House Republicans, you think they're corrupt too? The Senate Republicans?
I'm sorry. You think I thought all? I don't think in the binary. There is definitely a uni-party element to this, but you are relying on the people who have lied and falsified evidence within the last 8 years to exonerate the people that they were falsifying evidence to protect by way of politics. I mean, how stupid can you be?
Come on, Viva. I mean, these guys hate Biden. James Comer, he fucking hates Joe Biden.
Okay, that was a great pivot. You asked me to rely on the conclusion.
That's not a pivot.
Of the very same people. It's a deflection. The people who you were saying rely on, they investigated and said there's nothing here. Literally falsified evidence to sink Trump after he got elected. They literally lied about evidence to get Joe Biden, or maybe they don't like Joe Biden.
Let me give you what you want. Wait, I can give you what you want. I acknowledge that there absolutely was Kevin Kleinsmith, someone who lied with respect to evidence to obtain a renewal of a FISA warrant in the Crossfire Hurricane.
Very big of you.
Do you know
what he lied about? Do you know what he lied about?
Yes, it was related to whether or not Carter Page was ever an informant of the CIA. I think it was the CIA or some other organization.
Whether or not he was ever a Russian asset.
No. The lie actually was about whether or not another government organization had used him as a source before. And the answer was yes, they had. It would tend to exonerate Carter Page. It would tend to be exonerative evidence.
You understand here? The lie fabricated a Russian angle to things from the very same people who you now are saying, this might not be even a fruitful one to get into because we're getting into above and beyond.
Yeah.
FBI lawyer.
I'm happy to follow your lead, by the way, Viva. If you want to move on.
There's only so many rabbit holes you can.
So my way through Discord messages. You guys doing a great job.
I don't think that you're dodging. I just acknowledge you have to run a show, and those are realities. But
forget that. It's not a question of dodging. It's a question of that being immaterial to the underlying point right now. Is you say DOJ investigated and you trust them, and then I say, well, the DOJ is fundamentally corrupt, and you say, well, that's great. Then you never trust them. It's like, no. I'm not going to trust them for conclusions they came to that are beneficial to the very same people they were fabricating evidence for within the same time frame. And in order to do that, you have to be willfully blind or worse, or just say, I tolerate the corruption, and I'm going to turn a blind eye when they do it, and I'm going to trust them when they say that, my guy's all good and clean.
I think that you have there's a useful approach to skepticism of organizations, and I think that there are some people on my side who are too quick to be like, and I include, by the way, Destiny in this. I love Destiny. He's a good guy. He's my friend, but sometimes he's just too quick to be like, oh, I'm sure there's a reason for that. I'm sure there's an explanation. I acknowledge that it's good to have some healthy skepticism, and so I appreciate that.
Why does he? I don't understand why Pisco feels the need to both sides of me so hard. Like, yes, I think there shouldn't be any skepticism whatsoever. That is my position. I disagree with all skepticism. Thank you. True.
I don't see this kind of level of systemic corruption such that I should constantly doubt their conclusions. When, for example, you have...
Oh, and then he just quotes my position. Thanks.
Going to be in jail probably for years unless he gets pardoned by Joe Biden, which I think would be corrupt. And I would absolutely condemn Joe Biden if he were to, now I still think he would be a good president, but if he were to to pardon Hunter Biden, I think that would be totally bad and corrupt to do. That said, it to me doesn't strike me as the DOJ is covering shit up. When they do have improprieties, they release Inspector General reports. They prosecute their own. And so I trust way more the self-correcting systems of the DOJ than fucking Victor Shokin. Come on.
Well, you see, that would be the disingenuous comparison. You don't need to compare. You don't need to trust them more than someone who you don't trust. The question is whether or not you trust the people who literally falsified evidence, lied to courts, and obtained unlawful spy
warrants. And then prosecuted the people who did that.
Oh, no, they definitely prosecuted all of the people who did that, because I'm sure it was only Kevin Kleinsmith. And do you know what his punishment was, by the way, just in terms of like trusting the system?
Yeah, he got some.
He's good, but stick the January 6th in there for like 15 years, and I trust them to do it, and I trust them to do it here. And by the way, the reason why we can bring this all the way back to the beginning now is because we started off with Trump being a threat. And the two examples you gave of Trump's threatedness only occur in 2019 and 2020 after he was a president for 3 years, where he could have rounded up everybody and shipped them off to camps if he wanted to. So your evidence that Trump is a threat if he ever gets reelected is that in the last 2 years of his presidency, or the last year, he did things that you don't agree with. But in the first 3 years, he did nothing to exemplify this threat that you call him?
So I think that there's a little nuance there. I would agree that as his presidency continued, the threat to democracy kind of argument that I'm doing manifested in more obvious ways. And I think that much is true for sure. I don't say, by the way, that his first years he was not a threat, and there are many policy reasons by which I disagree with Trump, but I think in general he had a tendency for trying to use the trappings of government office in improper ways. And these examples, I think, are the most obvious and threatening ways. But even if it were just the case that this occurred on a single week or even a single month or whatever of his presidency, it alone is disqualified. And I'm going to ask you directly, if it were the case that how I'm describing January 6th and his attempt to steal the election really occurred, like, so take on board my interpretation of events in January 6th and his attempts to steal the election, just for the sake of the hypothetical. I know you don't.
You got to flesh that out to steal the election.
The notion that Donald Trump, I guess first I'll ask, do you believe that Donald Trump lost the election in 2020?
On paper, I mean, it's
Oh
a question.
my
Who was the legitimate winner of the 2020
On
election in your
paper?
opinion?
That would be also the wrong question. Who would be the legitimate winner to something that
It's
didn't
the question
happen?
I asked, whether it's the right or the wrong one.
No. Was the 2020 election clean and kosher? And the answer is going to be a big fat no. And
Okay,
anybody who says
so
otherwise
who do
is
you
a liar.
think? Do you have an opinion of who the legitimate winner of the 2020 election was?
Who would have won had Time Magazine not had they not done what Time Magazine done?
Oh,
That sounds like a
my
pivot.
God.
So I'm asking you a specific
because
question.
you said like you asked me like it's like saying, well, the guy who took steroids won the fight. Who would have won had the guy not been on steroids? I don't know. But the guy on steroids cheated, and therefore it invalidates the results.
So you believe Joe Biden cheated?
Joe Biden himself, or the very same system that you are now saying you rely on for the investigations into Joe? The system cheated absolutely 1,000%.
Okay, so the 2020 election, you think the 2020 election was illegitimate?
You're again using. I'm telling you that
Whatever you mean is
2020
legitimate or illegitimate.
was improper. It was tinkered with and it was manipulated, and in an unlawful manner, in an election interference manner. And I'll simplify it for you because I do believe that it was the way they changed the rules, the way they implemented those rules, and I think some of it was unlawful. If for no other reason, the 2020 election was interfered with as a result of the very same intelligence that you're relying on to exonerate Joe Biden, having manipulated and lied about the Hunter Biden story and censored social media to take it down. If only for that, and if you don't think that had an impact on the election, then we'll have to disagree as a matter of fact.
Well, I'll get back to those specific claims, I guess.
None of these, by the way, all of these combined were probably not as severe as Comey fucking destroying Hillary Clinton's campaign with his excoriating public statements about her. But
Communication, what's a true narrative, a false narrative?
Let me rephrase it. In every election, you're going to say in every election there's some cheating.
In the way that you're describing cheating, right? Where things happen.
That's not cheating.
Say,
He
for
shouldn't
example,
even
that you
grant
thought, as
that.
I did,
He shouldn't even grant that. What a
However,
ridiculous.
This election.
When Time Magazine gave favorable coverage to someone that was cheating, oh my God.
Minimum, as fairly as the 2016 election was. And I agree that Trump won the 2016 election and that Trump was the legitimate winner of the 2016 election. And not every blue MAGA person thinks this. There are people who say Trump actually lost in 2016. No, Trump won in 2016. And I believe strongly that people who say he actually lost or he's like wasn't really the president, that's all bullshit cope, okay? But take on board my position that Trump lost legitimately, and then Trump tried to change the results of an election he lost. In your opinion, if that were true, that he lost, he knew he lost, and he legitimately lost, but he tried to change the result, wouldn't you agree, sir, that it would be disqualifying whether or not anything else in his presidency beforehand had risen to that level or even a similar level?
Here might be a question that the people you talk with will not ask you to clarify your question.
Okay.
He tried to change the results?
Through
what means? Yeah, through what means, if I may?
Oh, God.
Various means.
Oh, let me in.
Okay, but
I'm just
various
I'm
lawful
happy to-
No,
means?
they weren't lawful.
Various lawful
No.
means?
Some
Literally,
means
no.
which were lawful.
Definitionally, they were
Changing
breaking the law.
result, though,
The ECA, he wanted to break the law.
He sought
Definitionally,
lawful means to change the
definitionally.
result of the election.
Some were
ECA was the
lawful
law.
and
He
some
wanted to
were-
break
you
it.
wanted to say that-
Definitionally, breaking the
Some
law.
were lawful,
Breaking the
some
law.
were unlawful.
No.
Put that aside.
No.
So then let's get
Put that aside.
concrete.
Wait. Just put that aside for a
No,
second.
'cause the
Whether
question comes down to the fact
assume
that
that they
he
were
legit-
lawful.
If I assume that his means of challenging the outcome of an election that you call legitimate were lawful means, you want me to call that disqualifying?
Yeah. Wait, I just want to get that on the record.
They've challenged the outcome of elections over and over again through lawful means.
Hang on a second. So
that's the definition of doing it lawfully.
I'm just going to put it this way. Supposing that Trump lost, legitimately lost, and he knew he lost. All right? But just assume. I'm not saying that you believe that. Assume
he legitimately lost, and he knew that he lost. You see, you did it again.
Well, it's a hypothetical.
It's an irrelevant hypothetical. Let's just even say that he legitimately lost.
I'm trying to put you in my brain. I'm trying. The reason I'm doing this.
But your brain is broken. I don't want to be there. All right. Okay. He legitimately lost. He knew that he legitimately lost. He knew that he was doing something illegal. Would it still be? I mean, what kind of stupid question is that?
I'm trying to tell you why it can be the case that someone, even irrespective of his first 3 years.
Okay, lawyer email guy. A quick one. Something you get right, but don't explicitly state, that I think is important when dealing with judicial bias is specific versus general bias. The U.S. court system relies on the fact, or maybe legal fiction, but it's still important that judges are, no matter their personal beliefs and ethos, start in an unbiased position. Wick's argument about the judge in the Trump case donating to the Democratic Party is this. This is distinguishable from specific bias if the judge donated instead to a super PAC named "We Hate Donald Trump and will ensure he never will be elected again." Then you would have a specific bias issue. Just being liberal is not a specific bias issue with Trump. If Alito was waving an American flag and being conservative, that is not something you recuse yourself from. Flying a specific political flag that relates to a specific political movement, Stop the Steal, makes the potential bias specific rather than general. Thomas's gifts are specific bias, which should have him recusing himself from any of his rich friends' personal cases, but he shouldn't have to recuse himself from any case involving a rich person because Thomas has rich friends. Next, Wick is way off in how strict the bias appearance needs to be. Reasonable appearance of bias is enough, not concrete evidence of bias. Final, in my opinion, Alito is the most biased and partisan hack Supreme Court justice we have had for a generation or more. He doesn't even have the conservative ideals that someone like Scalia or Gorsuch has, which makes them principled. If you want, read the Snyder v. Phelps Alito dissent or the Doe v. Grudy Alito dissent, or any of the terrible speeches he has given to conservative legal groups that have leaked, or his and Thomas's dissent in the recent Missouri Trump case. He is a biased partisan hack. That being said, as much as I find him terrible, he shouldn't have to recuse himself unless there is a specific event showing bias. Wow.
Video recording of Donald Trump saying, "I know I lost the election."
Well, it's called circumstantial evidence of intent, and
so it's called the answer is
we
no,
actually do. We actually do have statements. We actually do have statements of insiders who say that he acknowledges that he lost the election.
But insiders do. Yeah,
you don't need statements of intent to prove any intent ever in all of criminal court. In every criminal,
he says,
you don't need statements of intent ever. You don't ever need that. First degree murder doesn't rely on the person saying, "I intend to kill this person. I know that my actions are going to kill this person. I'm going to go through with killing this person." That's not how we convict ever.
They didn't signature match properly. Yeah, let's say that. The bottom line, though.
This guy's a lawyer, by the way. I don't even know if I fucking believe that. I've never seen Pisco in his lawyer outfit ever. Just kidding.
Is to say he's using lawful means to do something that he knows is not.
That was part of the hypothetical. I think he used very unlawful means to try to steal the election as well.
Which ones?
No, they're definitionally
conspiracy to use fake slates of electors was an unlawful.
Breaking the ECA. The ECA was the law. They wanted to break that law. It's not an opinion. That was Eastman's plan. They literally said we're going to break this law.
As you're aware, there are distinctions that I can draw, and we can go down this line if you want. But even if it were. I'm not bound by what they did in 1960. I could very well easily, I would say Pisco, that was illegal and unlawful. I would say that 100%.
You can say everything you want. It's called precedent. So you might think it's an unlawful precedent, but if he's invoking past precedent, you can call it unlawful all you want, and he'll call it precedent. And if you think you're going to go get a conviction of culpability, guilt, because he's using a precedent that your Democrat counterparts used back in the day. Well, my goodness,
we'll see.
I know there's a decision that says that from 100 years ago, but
there's no decision. So what happened was it just happened. There was never a court case about it.
What happened? We all know.
I don't know, but it just what I'm saying is it occurred. It's not like we have legal precedent on it. It's factual precedent, which was never tested. And I'm not going to sit here.
Speaking of factual precedent that was never tested, and they go
I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm bound by the interpretation of what the Hawaiian electors did. I'm not bound by that.
You're not telling me whether or not you're bound. What you're doing is you're telling me he's criminally guilty, notwithstanding this factual precedent of a tactic that was used by his political adversaries barely 50 years ago.
First of all, you guys love Kennedy. You love Kennedy. It's not saying that they're political adversaries is so bizarre in this context. It's anachronistic.
Well, no, that's a neither here nor there. It's not true anyhow. Because he was a Democrat. He was a Democrat killed by the very same entity that you still choose to trust and say. But that's another can of worms. The bottom line, your hypothetical question presupposes that he's either using unlawful means or that he's using lawful means to do something that you say he knows is not true as a matter of fact. Here, you know what I do believe? I believe the 2020 election was in fact stolen, exactly how they describe it in the Time magazine article. Changing rules, changing regulations, controlling information, and that is election interference.
Oh my God!
And I believe that a lot of the absentee, but the mail-in ballots for indefinite confinement were not constitutional votes. Period. I believe.
Wait. Are you talking about the Wisconsin law?
Yes.
Indefinitely confined.
In that case, and I don't want to do what I accuse others of doing. Wisconsin, the indefinite confinement, I believe that was constitutionally invalid.
Okay, but we've decided that issue. You believe it's
no. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that we did, but you are presuming that the means through which that was done, which would be the lawful means, would be unlawful because Trump knew that he lost. You're arguing.
So it's crazy to me that we can have. And by the way, Destiny, I guess, is watching, and if you would like to talk to him, he's offering it. But we don't have to do that.
I'm not bringing in Destiny.
Okay, cool, awesome. Because you know what?
That's right.
Free speech,
you better not. Hell yeah!
I felt that I had to relay it. That said, it's striking to me that you would assume the intent of Joe Biden.
The problem here is Pisco just hasn't read all the documentation. Pisco just hasn't read everything. He's giving up so much ground because he hasn't read enough,
That it was to help his son.
You didn't listen to me when I said it the first time. It doesn't matter the why. The what is what we have a recording of. Period.
Okay, so why can't I say it doesn't matter the why? Donald Trump lost those contests and he tried to change it. Doesn't matter what he knew. Why isn't that enough?
I agree. I'll agree with that. It doesn't matter what he knew. It matters whether or not the means that he invoked were lawful means, and they were.
Okay. Do you think that the vice president declaring Trump having won the election is a lawful means to win the election?
I believe that it was a legitimate legal theory that had been contemplated that would have worked its way.
Do you believe it's a lawful means to do that?
It's but definitionally unlawful. They said they were going to break the law. They had to break the ECA.
That would have been tested through the courts had it occurred.
Eastman said they didn't want to test it. It would never go to the courts. Eastman said that if it did go to the courts, it would lose.
Whether or not it's lawful is determined by it going through the courts.
No.
You ask me if it's lawful, and you say it's not going to go through the courts to find out if it's lawful?
Okay,
Eastman thought it wouldn't go through the courts.
If Donald Trump had literally sent his military in for a coup d'etat, the American military, for a coup d'etat, and said, I actually have the legal right to do so, you would agree that would be... It would presume it to be lawful until and unless the Supreme Court says otherwise? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, but yes or no, we're both lawyers, unless you don't know that I'm also a lawyer.
I know you're a lawyer, yes.
The hypotheticals, I'm going to object to the hypothetical because...
Come on, that's what lawyers do. You know that.
First of all, it's what bad lawyers do, and it's what bad witnesses do, is answer hypotheticals that are absolutely insane hypotheticals. I mean, it's irrelevant as a hypothetical, and I don't even understand it as the hypothetical.
You don't understand it as a hypothetical?
God.
I'll say it more slowly.
If he calls in the National Guard...
Why would that be unlawful means? Why would it be unlawful means to call in the Guard to at gunpoint hold Congress and say, you will gavel in Donald Trump or we will shoot? That's our legal theory. Why is that unlawful?
So the threat of murder.
Why is that unlawful?
That's unlawful because I can presume that the court cannot remedy the execution of someone who refuses to do something. But this is where these idiotic...
And the court can easily remedy an uncertified election? Talk me through the remedy for that. What is the court going to... Oh, so it's February 15th, and Trump is still president because we really don't know what to do. Please, expand on that. That it's so simple that this case would have never gone through, never been tried in all of history. How would the court easily remedy that injury?
Existed for quite some time. Alternate slates of electors are not fraudulent slates of electors.
They definitionally were, but Pisco doesn't know that. Even Chesbro himself was writing memos saying that we're highly problematic in at least 2 states, and in 4 others, it's probably not okay. Chesbro's literally saying this.
And if there were yeah, so these people weren't legitimate voters. Imagine, for example, that Joe Biden,
the electors were the result of fraudulent elections, and that they want to submit an alternate slate of electors to reflect.
Who's they? Not the state legislature. Not the state legislature.
Would have been properly reflected.
They is Trump's campaign. It's so much wrong. He's wrong about so much.
Had it not been for counting indefinitely confined votes, which was arguably unlawful. Had it not been for not matching signature verifications, which have still not been done, arguably unlawful. Yeah, that's called the alternate slate of electors.
Would you have supported if Pence had declared Trump the victor? Would you have supported that?
I would certainly have assumed that would go through the.
Would you have supported that action by Pence?
What does it mean supported?
Would you have complimented and agreed with his action? I guess I'll ask it more simply. If you were Pence, would you have done what Trump asked? Yes or no?
If I were Pence, would I have refused to certify the electors?
Would you have gavelled in Trump as the victor and refused to certify the election?
I might have refused to certify.
You're not sure whether you would or wouldn't?
That's breaking the law.
I'm not sure that I would have gavelled in Trump. I might have refused to certify and then had hearings on the issues that the court.
They already did have hearings. How many more hearings do you need?
Because you seem like a fun person that I could get a beer with and like we could chill and shit. That's fucked up. That you're like considering not certifying this election, and that's the.
But wait, hold on. Why did you ask me a question if you're going to tell me the answer that you didn't like is fucked up?
I'm just expressing to you.
I'm telling you that
I know that's your answer. I'm not denying that that's your answer. I'm just saying.
And so instead of telling me that it's fucked up, go ahead and tell me why it's fucked up. Why would I certify the electors that I believe were the result of fraud?
It's fucked up because we have processes for determining whether or not your legal challenges are successful. And you're saying, for example, hey, we got to defer to the courts to determine what's lawful. We'd already done that. And
you got to hop on the galaxy gas? What is the galaxy gas?
That there had been a determination as a matter of law that there was insufficient evidence in various cases, or the legal grounds were insufficient, or it was brought in a procedurally improper way for these claims to be heard. You'd say I would still not defer to those decisions, not defer to the determinations by the states, and I would just gavel in whatever I want and not certify.
Did they do the signature verification in Georgia?
Oh my God, dude!
They did verify signatures, didn't they?
No.
It's always another conspiracy. It's always, did they do this? Oh, well, did they verify the ink? Oh, well, did they make sure that the pens were manufactured from a place that wasn't changing the votes? Did they check if there were computer chips in the ink? Was the ink made with mRNA vaccines? Did they?
Proper signature verification as opposed to improper signature verification.
Yeah, because there's a difference between just recounting the votes and actually comparing the signatures on the voting ballots.
How are you going
Pisco,
to,
all caps, tell this guy to kill himself immediately. Control C, Control V, Control V, spam.
Go into right now, but suffice to say, now you're going to say they did it, but they didn't do it because they couldn't do it because by that point they could no longer do it. Bottom line, there was a legitimate, lawful, contentious legal theory to refuse to certify and then have the court
ask him if there was mRNA in the signatures.
What you're telling us is if you were there, if you were the VP, you would have not deferred to the courts. You would have not deferred to the state governments.
I would have entertained the idea of not certifying the slate of electors on the allegation that it resulted from
even though the courts did not agree with you, and even though the state governments did not agree with you.
Which cases went to the merits?
The cases related to indefinitely confined. Wait, no, that wasn't addressed on the merits, but there was a discussion about
why wasn't it addressed on the merits?
There were the controlling opinion there is by I believe Judge Hannagorn, Brian Hannagorn. You're surprised I know this shit, Viva.
No,
You're surprised, but I know it because I'm a fucking god, and your chat can't deny I'm a god. And I know
don't
this
care
shit.
that you know their names. Give me the legal theory.
Yeah,
on which the lawsuit was dismissed.
In that specific case, it was far too late to bring this claim.
Latches.
Yeah,
you understand that you can't get the truth out of your mouth because you don't like it. You give me the name of the judge.
But the thing
I don't
is,
care about
the thing
latches.
How,
they didn't hear it. They said no standing.
But they did. There was.
Wait, what? Do we not think that latches is that a thing that do lawyers not think that's legitimate? My understanding is that let's say that somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Let's say that I think that somebody cheated me out of a building contract. He scammed me. Okay. Let's say that I think he scammed me on January 2nd. Okay, of 2020. And then the building is about to go up on January 2nd of 2023. And then I filed the lawsuit on like January 1st of 2023. Can't a court reasonably say, wait, you waited way too fucking long to file this. We can't do anything about this now. Because remember, part of standing is that the court needs to be able to provide a remedy. Otherwise, why the fuck are you wasting your time? Is that not legitimate? Do we not think that, is this bullshit or?
So now hold on a second. We started with the threat because this all started with the accusation that Trump is a threat. Thus far, you did not provide any evidence of threat.
I hate these. I'm so ready to leave, guys. Fuck the AR-15 build. We're going to find the new country build, okay? Where do we go to next? I got to get out of here. I can't be. Oh, wait. I don't have to get out of here. He's a Canadian. Whew, thank God.
That you didn't like and submitted an alternate slate of electors.
If he had tried to do it, wait. I'm just going to address this point real quick. If he had tried to do a military coup d'etat and it failed, but then he left on the constitutionally ordered process, would you say what you just said?
If he tried to do a military coup d'etat, then left after he failed the military coup, have you listened to your question?
Yeah, because whether he failed or not isn't the issue. The issue is he tried. Whether he left after he failed, who the fuck cares?
He tried what? Like, you gotta be specific.
He tried to steal the 2020 election.
Steal is a conclusion, and it's not a
because he lost it. Because it is conclusion that Joe Biden won.
So he lost. He lost. Therefore, anything he did would have been theft. Therefore, you've argued.
No, just the illegal things.
A way to get around it. Congratulations, Pisco.
I don't think Pisco is aware that breaking the ECA. I don't think Pisco knows the details of that. That the plan was to break the law.
He moved on already. He left office.
If we can't accept that Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
He was such a threat that he left office peacefully.
He left office.
You would never say this of anybody.
That's like saying Saddam Hussein left office peacefully. He kind of did, right? He showed up to his court trial. He got executed and he was there peacefully for it, right? Like,
I would never say this if anybody. 5. So it's not the first time elections have been challenged, and that.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No, not true. Not like this.
True. Let me just ask you: if he's a threat, what kind of a sorry ass threat is he that he left, was allowed to be deplatformed, was allowed to be lawfared? He's such a threat.
Be allowed to be lawfared. He's out of his control.
Oh, well,
he didn't have the control.
He literally fought. What do you mean he's still fighting? He got the Florida. It wasn't the Florida technically. It was in the Florida district. He already has one case thrown out. He's got a Supreme Court justice is simping for him to get immunity to defend him against the other cases. What do you?
Of criminal indictments and complaints because he did crimes. What do you want me to say?
Oh, he did crimes now. He did crimes.
Yeah, he did crimes. I don't know what to say. You don't think he didn't do crimes? You believe everything about Burisma?
He did not do crimes. I think he did not do crimes. Which crimes do you think he did specifically?
I specifically think
read the criminal statutes. Oh my God.
Which one? In New York?
In New York, I agree. Or do you agree?
I specifically disagree with that.
Okay. Did he, in fact, falsify?
Pay a retainer to his lawyer?
You believe he paid a retainer?
He didn't. The whole point was that Cohen was loaning him the money.
Wait a
Pisco,
second.
you know this. Pisco.
He paid a retainer.
Didn't. It was the whole point. It was a donation in kind.
For legal services rendered?
No, he did. Oh, he knows he fucked up. Oh, yes. Wait. He's like, well, did he? Well,
you think that Cohen was giving legal fee or rendering legal services?
No.
During the time period?
Even if
it was all fake. You know it's fake. That wasn't for legal services.
Correct.
It was a reimbursement.
Pisco.
It was an after the. Yes, he is baiting. Okay. It was an after the fact reimbursement for a donation in kind for Cohen to pay off Stormy Daniels so that he could win the election.
Don't you agree that it's
what is fake? Michael Cohen was doing what Michael Cohen did, and if Michael Cohen was taking care of a Stormy Daniels problem, probably taking his own piece of the pie as well, that's what he was invoicing.
Wait, you think that Michael Cohen stole money from Trump?
I won't say. Whatever I think is irrelevant.
Oh my God! You're inventing a whole new crime for Michael Cohen, but not for Trump, who got convicted in front of a jury.
Whatever Michael Cohen did was the money good for him.
He's inventing a whole new crime for Michael Cohen, who hasn't even been accused of this crime, but he refuses the crime that fucking Trump was literally convicted for. Limfeo.
He needs to commit suicide immediately.
So you're saying that Donald Trump was structuring a payment in order to be stolen from?
Wait, you actually think that he stole money?
He did. Michael Cohen, I have to go refresh my memory on this, that he did not give the money to the tech company that he was supposed to within the $480,000 that he was paid.
Oh, great. So you agree that it was a reimbursement? Because that theory only works if it was a reimbursement. The stealing theory only works if it was a reimbursement. Otherwise, it's just a retainer fee. Just so you know, that the stealing theory only worked. The reason why he admitted to it is because that's what it was, because it was a reimbursement. But if it's just a retainer for legal fees, then there was no theft. But you're alleging that he committed theft. Therefore, it's obvious it was a reimbursement, and it was false.
You do understand that even the monies that were paid to Michael Cohen were broken down. They were itemized to some extent, and there was no itemized.
They were itemized in such a way to overpay Michael Cohen for something where he was stealing money, for sure.
To compensate him for what he was going to have to pay.
Because it was a reimbursement. Because that's obvious what it was, and therefore it was a lie.
Do you do recognize that Michael Cohen admitted to not remitting? I think it was $30,000 to the tech company that he was supposed to?
Yes, that's how he stole it.
Okay, so that's how he stole it. So you then saying that he stole from the monies that were a reimbursement to him?
Yes, but it doesn't work if it's a retainer fee.
He's stealing from himself?
No. He's stealing from Trump because he's overestimating the actual amount that he paid to the tech company for the different ad buy.
Yeah. So he's stealing from Trump.
That is theft, 100%. But it is only theft if you agree it's a reimbursement. If it's a retainer for legal services, then it's not theft, because then it's just paying legal services. But the fact that you're doing the Redfinch thing, it means that you're using as evidence the calculation that necessarily proves that this was a reimbursement as opposed to a payment for legal services.
If it was a reimbursement, then how does he steal from it?
The theft theory is he
admitted to stealing from them. He admitted it in the trial, Pisco.
I understand. The theft theory is premised on the notion that
it's not a theory. It's an admission.
The admission relates to...
He took it out in cash.
The admission relates...
he stole from Trump.
The admission...
How does he steal from Trump if
because it's a reimbursement? The theft is he was reimbursed, and he asked for more money than he actually paid. And so he was overgrossing his reimbursement.
Okay, I'm going to unban this guy, but I should keep him banned. Hi, Dustin. You recently banned me saying the inverse square and the square cube law aren't the same idea. They are distinct concepts related only in that they are dimensional scaling laws that involve area in some way. The inverse square law describes how the observed intensity of certain quantities decreases with distance from a point source with the scaling law 1 divided by x squared. The square cube law describes how the ratio of the surface area or cross-sectional area of an object to its volume decreases with scale, meaning the ratio of these quantities as a function of the scale factor is 1 divided by x, and area as a function of linearly scaled volume is x to the 2/3. This law is especially relevant in biology, where a high area to volume ratio, blah, 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 blah. When I say that the concepts are closely related, what I'm saying is that if I was to shoot a beam of something that was going in one direction, okay? If I was to just shoot this beam and it had some intensity, x, I'm not going to know the exact numbers. I'm going to look like a retard. If there was some like intensity where intensity is measured as like, I don't know, energy. We'll just say energy, right? That it would be the same throughout all of these. Like every point here, the intensity would be the exact same. But if you were to increase the dimension of this by going up an extra dimension, then whatever intensity you have here, because now the particles have to spread in every single direction, or the energy has to spread in every single direction, you would get something where it is... I guess you would measure you would say perceived intensity, but it's not perceived. It is actual intensity, right? The scaling is going to be, this would be the 1 over x squared, because you have the same amount of energy here, and it's no longer being focused in one dimension. Now you have to spread it to a whole other dimension, so now it's going to exponentially decrease, right? This is your, but it's because you're traveling up in a dimension, right? Where are my physics people or math people? I'm pretty sure that's correct. Laser pointer versus light bulb, basically. Kind of, but there's a reason why. And I think it's because of the increase in dimension. When you go up in a dimension, you have to take that same energy that could have just been focused along one dimension. I know in real life it's not a single dimension. And now you have to spread it across all dimensions. So of course it's going to be weaker, right?
Every possible excuse to get Donald Trump whatever kind of immunity he wants. I'm betting on this Supreme Court to give every excuse for Donald Trump in any of his matters. So yes, that's what I'm banking on, whether or not I believe or agree with it. So yes, I think that it's possible either on the underlying predicate offense for due process reasons.
That even Bragg's own office said that this was all bullshit, politically motivated?
No, the SDNY is not Bragg's office.
But the square cube law is not about going up in dimension. That's the difference. Well, so for the square cube law, if you were to take the area of a square, let's say this is 2 by 2, right? And so the area is 4. If we were to increase this to 4 by 4, the area would increase to 16, right? So doubling this causes this to square. If you were to add a third dimension, no, hold on. Well, no, you can add a third dimension, but you would just be adding the but this third dimension would be growing because this is being squared. This is being the middle is being squared, and then the inside would be being cubed, right? That's right? Cubed. This is being squared. This is being cubed. What is the comparison that I'm making here? All I'm saying is that when you increase, listen, I forget the formulas, okay? But when you're increasing the dimensionality, every time you increase yourself in a dimension, you're exponentially changing the relationship between two variables. So when I say, I'm just saying that this is how I understand it conceptually. That's what I'm saying the relationship is like, okay? That anytime you're expanding in dimensions, the relationship between things like area or surface area or things across one dimension going to 2 dimensions, those relationships are going to dramatically change. It's not going to increase linearly like you might expect along one dimension, or even by just a square like you might expect across 2 dimensions. It might increase by a cube or whatever, however many dimensions up you want to go if you want to be a loser. Yeah, it's called scale factor. Okay, there you go.
That to me is not.
But conceptually, that makes sense, right? We should think, we understand this intuitively and conceptually. If you think about it, if you have like a square that was full of water and you doubled the square, you know that it's probably going to weigh is it 16 times as much? Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, I have to think for a second. Or would it be 4 times as much? You're holding a square, it's got water inside of it, and then you double the length. So you add another square on top, and then you add another square here, and then you'd have to fill in the depth dimension, right? So if it weighed 1 pound, now it weighs 4. So it would increase by 4, and then if you were to double it again, that would increase by 16, right? You know this intuitively if you were dealing with the actual physical objects. You're holding a cube? Yeah, my dick is cube-shaped.
Okay,
they financed fake research, lied about its payment, leaked it to the FBI, who then leaked it to Yahoo in a meeting that they paid, that the guy billed the...
Hey, I want to ask you about your experience something, but first, here is what you mean, Dumby. Finally, a good visualization of higher dimensions. Yes, because of calculus, but volume actually drops off after the 6th dimension. Is that actually true? I don't think I've ever worked in higher dimensions before, but maybe. I'm only saying this because every time I hear people say like inverse square law or square cube law, I feel like they're trying to think in their head with just math equations. And there are math equations to illustrate it, but conceptually they make sense. Like it makes sense why the inverse square law works. And it's like, well, when light travels out from a point, the inverse square law dictates, that well, no, fuck the inverse square law. That just describes what's actually happening, which is that a thing at a single point has to spread out across multiple dimensions. So of course it's gonna feel weaker because you can't have the same strength in every single dimension. It would be impossible. You have to start with more energy at the source, and then it would necessarily be higher at the source, and it would fade as you go out because you're traveling across multiple dimensions, right? It makes sense conceptually or intuitively. You shouldn't just memorize the equation. You should understand the concept. And then the equation, you can derive. As long as you know the concept and you remember your last class, you can derive whatever fucking bullshit equation you need on the fucking test up to a certain point because you understand it conceptually. That's all I'm saying. Just don't, whenever somebody asks you to explain something, like, oh, well, here, listen, if you get a bad math teacher or a bad math tutor and you say, hey, can you help me explain or can you help me understand this? And they go, oh, well, here's the equation. No, The equation comes last. You should understand the concept first, conceptually, what's actually happening, and then you use the equation to explain it. This is why generally in math, if you get a good teacher, of course, right, you work out problems longhand and you go step by step by step by step by step before you start like learning shortcuts, right? You should learn how to do integration, derivation longhand, even don't you learn originally the quadratic formula before you learn like factoring and everything, right? You learn everything longhand so that you can understand conceptually what's going on, and then you learn the shortcuts, and then you learn the equations. Exactly, like the conservation of angular momentum describes why the skater spins faster when they lower their arms, but it's not why. Oh, sure. I will be honest, I never understood the right hand rule. I don't have a conceptual understanding of the ball. I wanted to add that to my notes because I don't get why if something spins, if it spins clockwise, then it has a angular momentum along that axis. I don't know why. I just know about the right hand rule and that's it.
In this,
explain the quadratic formula. I don't remember that. Fuck, I think that was 7th grade for me. Quadratic formula. Isn't the quadratic formula the shortcut to factor any polynomial expression? But I don't remember the foundation or basis. That's a long time ago. Who made this? Where did this come from? It's to find zeros? I don't think so. I think this is supposed to be how you factor. Am I making this up? I thought this is to factor every single polynomial expression. But obviously, as you get into math, you never use this because you should be able to use shortcuts for everything because fuck this. Because who actually uses this past like the first time you learn it? No? Or am I making this up? Factoring also finds zeros? No. I mean, you can easily find zeros afterwards, sure, by setting whatever expressions you have to 0 and then solving from there. But the quadratic equation is for factoring, right? It's not just for, I mean, you can find zeros after you've factored, but you use it throughout all of calculus? I feel like I never use this past algebra. You factor to find zeros. Do you? Is that the only... I guess that's kind of true, isn't it? Yeah, because why the fuck else would you factor? Yeah, actually, I guess that is true. Suck a dick. In real life, factoring isn't clean, so you have to use the quadratic equation. I'm not an engineer. I don't give a fuck. And in the math book, everything factors nice and cleanly with shortcuts, okay?
In this video, we will look at a geometrical problem in many dimensions. But don't be scared. There will be no formulas, and we will start in 2 dimensions. Let's create a square with side...
What's going on with the Diddy situation? I don't know, but I'm worried that he's going to release my freak-off videos. And then my whole career is going to be over.
Length 1. Inside the square, we place 4 blue circles, 1 towards each corner. They have diameter 1/2, so they fit exactly inside the square.
Wait, I'm doing emails. There's no way I can pay attention to emails. Hold on. We got 16 left.
And that case should be tossed as well.
So everyone is corrupt except for Trump. I mean, it's crazy.
You know what's crazy is that the man made it for 50 years in New York real estate, and nothing hit the fan until...
Except for his how many bankruptcies? What are you talking about?
I don't agree with that. He had lawsuits up the ass the entirety of his life because he's a scammer.
True.
Fraud.
First of all, that's a conclusion. I won't ask if you...
That's a conclusion.
Okay. I suspect most of
Trump is literally a saint to these guys. Ask him if he would... Wait.
And you know, everybody's like, oh, he bankrupted 6 companies. Anybody who's...
Trump can do no wrong. Pisco, force the answer.
Knows that, you know, if you don't go bankrupt, you're not Trump.
Would he support
to think that you're going to shame
the canonization of Donald J. Trump? Is he a modern-day saint?
No, I know.
Is he the holiest man alive? Ask him.
But let me ask you this, like, because I genuinely think all that you and every one of your ideological ilk have to rely on is the fear that Trump will be worse. How do you feel about the border? Do you
Oh my God, I can't watch it anymore. I'm so sorry.
In this video,
I'm gonna get too triggered. Now you're gonna sit here in silence. 12 emails left. A few things, but you asked about who brings sanctions. Sanctions are a broad power that applies when a court issues some sort of punishment for in-court behavior. This ranges from Rule 11, Fed Rules of Civil Procedure 11, which is about bad actions of attorneys and parties to discover sanctions under Rule 37, to evidentiary sanctions for spoliation, blah, 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 blah. It's not the outfit you're wearing for the movies. If not, you worry about getting sweaty. The problem when you dress in warm climates, here's one of the issues with being in a place like Miami, okay, is that outside it's hot as fuck, okay? But because everybody is fat, okay, no offense, inside places are fucking freezing. So if you wear an outside appropriate outfit, okay, so like under this I just have a t-shirt, then everything is nice outside, but then as soon as you get into like a movie or like an airplane, it's fucking freezing, okay? Romulus rules, what's your go-to concession snack? Probably just popcorn. Popcorn is beast, okay? Because it's not that high in calories, as high as you would imagine it would be. Ooh, lawyer fight. Finally, this didn't happen in this video, but tell Pisco to stop treating conversations like depositions. It's cliche to the point of embarrassing. It makes lawyers look like a pack of massive dicks that lack any social skills, and worst of all, it's not effective. Forcing yes or no answers under intense questioning just doesn't work in a natural conversation. At best, you can use it very sparingly to punctuate when someone is dodging a question, but by God does he overdo it. I like Pisco, and he does good work. Rob Noah-related actions not included, but it bothers me to no end when he argues like that. If Nebraska R switched the state to winner take all, and it's too late for Maine to do the same, the impact could be enormous. Why would you switch it? Cringe. That's so cringe. That's like one of the only cool things about Nebraska. Did you mention seeing Longlegs previously? Yeah, what a dog shit movie. I was not impressed.
All right, this thing, old school carburetor. You can always tell something about somebody's maintenance when how clean their air filter is. Look, to be able to work on this thing, you got a manual.
Oh no. I'm starting to worry, guys. I'm starting to worry, okay? This guy is too much. This guy's a fucking serial killer, okay? This is the Trinity killer. I don't know if I'm believing this. I'm starting to get worried. It's too much. He's too cool. Something is going on here, okay? He's got kids under the floorboards or something, all right? Something horrible is happening here.
When how clean their air filter is. Look, to be able to work on this thing, you got a manual. It shows you exactly what to do to fix things on this. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have a manual too. It's called Project 2025, and it's a way to stick it to the middle class while giving tax cuts to the wealthiest. Look, they didn't give me a manual for this if you didn't plan on using it to fix your truck. They didn't create that Project 2025 just to have it set around as a door.
Wow, Hardshot, thanks for the 5 subs, buddy.
Stop. We know who these guys are. We know they got a playbook to rig the economy. Let's make sure it doesn't. And you can always tell, again, somebody, if they keep a clean air filter, they do good maintenance.
Fuck air filters, all right?